Okie dokie, we're recording. I am so excited to be here. I totally, per usual, am late. Thank you for being understanding. But you guys, I'm excited about today's topic because I get this question all the freaking time. It's not even funny. So today we're going to be talking about how do you motivate your team and the importance of self-development. So Julia and I are just going to be kind of like popcorning back and forth a little bit about this because I think she has a lot to say. So I'm so excited. The very first thing that I want to go over, and I don't know if you want to open this or I can, whatever, but I wrote down what has been your transformation with mindset in general, because I know for me, like, over the last 2 years, my mindset has grown and changed so much, and that is purely because of the self-development that I've done. So do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Are you referring to like where I started mentally to where I am now, or what I have done to grow my mind over the...
We'll talk about how you grew your mind in a second, but I want to know more like, where were you when you first started this business mentally, and where are you now simply because of the mindset growth that you've
done? Sorry, I had to close the door. When I first started this business, I had just gotten out of a relationship. So I was like not in a good place. And I had actually talked to him about, because I would always see Alexa's posts, and I like brought it up to him. I was like, what do you think about like multi-level marketing? And he was like, I mean, it's one of those things, like, if you're going to do it, you got to go for it. And if you, or like, don't do it, basically, you know? And he like never really encouraged me to do it. And like, definitely wasn't like, didn't inspire me to be like, okay, it's something I should like try. Then we broke up, and I just kept seeing Alexa's posts, and I was like in a really bad place mentally. I just didn't understand, like, I don't need to go into like the deep dark depths of like what happened in my relationship, but it wasn't a good feeling, and I just couldn't understand like why me, like why does this stuff keep happening to me? So it was totally like me, like why, like pity on me, you know, like what am I doing? Like why me? So then I started this business, and my roommate at the time, like, kind of listened to, like, podcasts and stuff, and she would, like, occasionally be like, you should listen to this, and, like, I was like, yeah, whatever, like, never really listened to her, and I didn't really know what, like, self-development was or anything, so just listening to things that were encouraging, and I don't know if I'm, like, on the right topic or right path at all, but I was just very, like, victimized and very, like, I just played victim all the time. I was just like, why me? Like, why do these things keep happening to me? And I didn't realize that maybe it wasn't the other person. Like, yes, other people have their issues, but I'm never going to attract what I need in my life until I'm the best version of myself. So I just worked really hard on that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That was exactly what I was looking for. So when did you realize that you were playing the victim and that you had to change that for things to change in your life? Like, what was that click? Was it something that you listened to? Was it something that somebody said? Like, when did that happen?
I don't know if it was like necessarily like a sudden click. I just like, we make our posts all the time and stuff, you know, and like I just would see myself, like the way I would write and the way I would think, and like just how my mindset changed from like being an asshole, for lack of a better word, to like wanting to be kind to everyone because that's what I have to offer. And just obviously like what I was listening to and what I was feeding my brain on a daily basis plays a huge part in that. But it was like, I don't remember exactly like something in particular, but just filling my brain with good things instead of letting all these negative thoughts feed me all the time. That's what really helped me.
Where would you say you're at now? Like, you started a year ago, you were in a really bad place. You kind of saw, you know, your roommate listening to that stuff and the team listening to different things. And so you kind of jumped into it. And where would you say you're at now mentally because of that?
I am like, I'm still the same Julia. Like, I still have my flaws and I still have my imperfections, and I always will, but I handle situations so much differently and more effectively and less like, what's it called? Like, I don't destroy myself anymore. Like, obviously you still get down on yourself and you're not perfect. You're still human. But I just analyze things in such a different way. Like, my dad used to always tell me, yep, she's 13 going on 30. Like, he always has told me I'm like so much wiser beyond my years than he was at my age and just things like that. But even now more so when he sees me, he's like, damn it, Julia. He's like, I don't understand like where this came from, but it all came from what I listened to and how I feel like my brain has completely rewired, because instead of looking at a situation and being like, why is this happening to me? It's always what is this teaching me and how can I learn from it? And what have I learned from previous experiences that can help me react to this situation in a different way versus how I would have reacted to certain things that have happened even recently in my life. Like, I would just shut down and like, it wasn't good. It was always just why me. And so I went from like a why me mindset to a like, how is this helping me, or what can I learn from it, and what have I worked through already that can help me with this situation now. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't prepare for this, so I'm just rambling.
I'm so excited. No, you're doing so good. Like, I'm getting so fired up about this. Okay. So a couple things that I wanted to touch on, because I could go into like where I was and where I've been now, but I think every single person on this team, and drop a 1 if you agree, would say that even in the last year and a half, especially the last 6 months, I have changed dramatically. Okay. The only reason is because of self-development. And a lot of you were my friends before this. Some of you weren't, but you know, okay? If you know, you know. Yeah, there's some ones. Okay. So you guys, self-development is so important, and we talk about it all the time. But what I wanted to touch on that Julia said that just like sparked my mind was the word rewiring. And every podcast, I don't want to say every, but a lot of them that I listen to, it's all about reframing. It's all about rewiring. It's all about unlearning what you've learned your entire life and literally rewiring your brain to think differently about certain situations. And to piggyback off of that, you said something that made me think about, with self-development, I've learned how to respond instead of react. And before this business, I didn't know how to do that. And the only reason, like I said, is because of the stuff that I've been listening to and the things that I've been learning. And I've learned how to be a leader, and I've learned how to, you know, I'm working on myself every single day. And that's what ultimately this comes down to, you guys, is working on and wanting to be the best version of yourself every single day. You can't do that on your own. You just can't. So whether you're religious and you pour into, or you listen to sermons, or you download an audiobook, or you're listening to podcasts, I really don't have a preference as long as you are listening to something every single day. The other thing that you said was, and it kind of goes off of, I can't remember exactly what you said or how you said it, but for me, it was like, I had to learn how to, you were saying that you learned how to think about what you're learning in certain situations. And like, okay, what am I learning from this? How can I find the silver lining, for lack of better words? For me, I've really had to learn how to come from a place of love, because I'm so red that it's almost like other people perceive me as like snappy, or like I'm responding like without emotion or something. I don't know how to explain it, but I've just had to learn how to like really come from a place of love for the other person, and like think about, and I say it all the time, like she is me, and learning how to read a message and wait 20 minutes before I reply, and then think of a good response. You know what I'm saying? So that can be really beneficial, especially when you're leading a team. And I highly suggest that you, if you're not listening to self-development already, start doing so you can learn some of these tools, because that's really what it is. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. Why would you say that mindset is so, and we'll get into the business side of it, but I want to talk just even in your personal life. Like, I think so many people think about, when we talk about personal development or self-development, that it's just about the business. And when you're taking a day off or whatever, that this is something that's a task in your business life. And I know you're shaking your head, because I think we both agree that this is a life tool. Like, this is how to survive and be successful in this life. So why is self-development so important to you personally?
Self-development has changed my entire life in a year and a half. So that, if I quit this business right now, I would still listen to a podcast today. Like, I can't not grow my mind, because not only has it helped me it's just literally helped me in every single part of my life, whether it's friendships, relationships with my parents, how I react to them, how I treat people at work, how I treat customers and guests, and just like all across the board, it has changed my entire life. And it just changed how I think. It just literally changed my perspective. And what's like the saying, like, be the change you want to see in the world. It's so cliche, but it's literally like so true. I never would think the way I think now without the mindset that I have. And of course, I'm growing my mind every single day, and I'm not perfect by any means, and I have a lot to work on still. But there's just so many things where it's like, without the certain books I've listened to and the podcasts I listen to daily, and like without all of that, I just couldn't even, it's like, what is it? Because your brain is like a muscle. So you always have to train it. And if you stop for one day, it's like when you would go to school and you would have 3 months off for summer and you try to go back and you're like, how do I write my name? Like, what the heck? Like, you have to do it every single day. And I'm getting off track. I forgot what the real question was. Can you remind me?
No, it's okay. I was just asking why self-development was and mindset is so important. So I think you hit the nail kind of right on the head. A quote that stands out to me is by Grant Cardone, and he says, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I feel like that is so true. Like, you have to, especially like as humans, we have to, like, we're like a computer program, okay? And we use so little of our brain. And when you are focusing on listening to business podcasts, listening to self-development podcasts, it is inevitable that you're going to level up in your life, okay? You level up here, your finances start leveling up. The people around you start leveling up, like all of these different things. So I just wanted to point that out. If you're not growing, you're dying. What was the very first book that you started with? And if someone's new to self-development, like, give 2 names of books that you just think would be a good start.
The first one, I was actually like physically reading it and it was taking me forever. And then I got the audiobook and finished it in like a week or something. But You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero changed my life. And then 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. If I'm stuck and like don't know what to listen to or something, I'll just restart that book. I've probably listened to it 3 times. I always get something different from it, and I hear things that I never heard before. So that's a really good one because it just kicks your ass, and it's like, oh wow, I'm slacking, or I need to pick up here, or like, this guy is just pushing so hard for everything he's ever wanted in his life, and he's not going to let excuses get in his way. So You Are a Badass. And I like Jen Sincero versus like Rachel Hollis, because Rachel Hollis is just too soft for me. She's really amazing, but she doesn't feed my soul like Jen does. I don't know what it is, but I love those 2 books. Those are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, those are really good. One that I would suggest that's specifically for network marketing that I loved, it's a slow read. It's really dry, but it is so good. If you can listen to it, is Get Over Your Damn Self. It is so, so good. And then the other one, I forget who it's by. I'm looking it up right now, but it's called How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. And this was one that helped me get over that victim mindset and how to get over like my anxieties and my fears. And it's by Andrea Owen, How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. Actually, I'm pretty sure Renee recommended that book to me, and I freaking loved it.
Who's it by?
So, but yeah, those are the ones that I would suggest for sure. And the thing is, you guys, is like, we could suggest 1 million books to you, and there are so many out there, but at the end of the day, what works for me is going to be different than what works for you. Like, Julie and I both just suggested 2 different sets of books, you know what I'm saying? So don't be stuck or set in stone on one thing because of what someone else says. If it's not hitting it in the right spot for you, just like she was saying Rachel Hollis doesn't for her, then move on to something else. Don't feel like you have to just finish the book to finish the book. Like, find something that sets your soul on fire. Okay, so let's move on to, so how do you incorporate self-development into your business and into your leadership? And I feel like those are 2 kind of different things. For me personally, I don't know if you want to touch on that really quick or if you have to think about it for a sec. You look like, okay. So for me personally, like, self-development is not only what helps me go through my everyday life, but especially as a leader, you guys, you cannot pour from an empty cup, like, simply put. And so if you're not filling your mind, when a distributor comes to you and is irritated about something or complains about their paycheck or just brings any sort of negativity to you, it's really going to eat away at you. You're not going to reply properly. You may actually lose a distributor because you're not handling the situation properly because you're just not there. Read the message, wait a little bit, go do some self-development, come back to it, okay? And then as far as like for me and my personal business, you guys, I'm sorry, and Ajay, I know, has a lot to say about this portion, so I'm not going to dive too much into it, but I can't motivate you, period. I cannot. No one else on this team can. Rochelle, Pam, Cami, Mark, I don't care who it is, they cannot motivate you. We can inspire the hell out of you, but you have to take inspired action. The people who jump on the Zooms and who are watching YouTube videos all day, that's amazing. And I'm so proud of you for filling your cup. I'm so proud of you for learning new things. But that is not taking action. You need to actually do the work now, okay? I don't jump out of bed every morning, and I'm sure, drop a 1 if you can either, but I don't jump out of bed every morning wanting to work this business. And I can tell you what, I didn't jump out of bed working my 9 to 5 either. There's not a single job on this planet. Not even as a mother do I jump out of bed every day wanting to get up and feed my kid. That sounds horrible, and I love her, but I'm freaking tired, and I want to lay in bed an extra 10 minutes, and she wants to get out. It's the same thing with this business. You have to treat it like it is a business and not a hobby. Get inspired, get on the Zooms, get on those podcasts and self-development, and then freaking get to work. So Julia, how do you motivate your team?
I was just trying to find the Mel Robbins quote, but this is a funny story, but I'm not going to talk about it. I listened to this podcast, or it's not a podcast, she's like interviewing on somebody's else's podcast or something. I don't remember, but basically it was on motivation, and she gets on there and she goes, "Motivation is garbage." And I was like, holy smokes, you are so accurate right now. Like, you're not wrong. And it was just like a kind of a mind-blowing thing, because I always, I feel like in this business, we're always asked, like, what motivates you? How do you motivate your team? All these things like that. And honestly, like, I don't have a solid answer for you. All you can do is work your business, grow your mind, lead by example. And if that's not enough for somebody, then they don't want this bad enough. And there's nothing more that you can do than to want this for yourself and to want this for your team. You can't do the work for them. So my simple answer is motivation is garbage. And if you don't believe me, or you want this little clip from Mel Robbins, she goes into like a really valid scientific like explanation on it that I can't quote because I don't remember exactly what she says, but it resonated so much with me. So I think motivation is trash, and you just need to pull your head out of your booty and get it done. And as for leading, motivating your team, you just have to lead by example.
It is so true, you guys. Like, your team, whether you think they are or not, are watching your every move.
Here's the thing, you can't motivate them, but you can encourage them.
Yes.
So I think encouragement is huge.
No, 100%. And just like you were saying, leading from the front, like, just do the things that you want them to do. And those are the kind of people that you're going to start attracting to. Like, as you level up, the people who you're bringing into your business and into your life are going to be at a higher level than you were before, right? So I completely agree. I have nothing else to add on to that other than do the things and hop onto Zooms and pour into yourself, and the rest will follow. And then how do self-development and motivation coincide? I kind of touched on this a little bit, but how do you feel self-development encourages you to go through your daily life and work your business?
I had to rewire my brain to replace motivate with encourage. You did that for me. No. Without self-development, self-development helps, like, it prompts me for my posts. It gets my mind right for my day. it helps me react to certain situations different ways. So it's like without it, it just like, I can't do any of the things. So it's like, it's just like the foundation of everything I do, everything I say. And it sounds like kind of tacky in a way, but literally it's like reading the Bible for me. And I'm not religious, so I don't read the Bible, but I like to listen to self-development because it's growing my mind in a way of like, I expand my mind through self-development. And I think that's so important. And I used to always say, like, I was such a spitfire in high school, and I just like think back on all these like things that I would say and like how not accurate it was. I was like, no wonder everyone hated me. Like, I was a little brat. Like, good Lord. But I always was like, I'm so open-minded. Like, I'm not judgmental at all. And now that I'm like, it's like been like 5-6 years, and I look back and I'm like, wow, I was like not a good person at all. And I can look back and see that like, because of self-development, it's helped me see it's because of like my circumstances then. I was so why me? And I didn't have the best upbringing and the best childhood. And not that it was all horrible, but it definitely wasn't rainbows and butterflies. And I didn't have money, and I grew up in a really rich area, and I didn't fit in at all as like a sore thumb. And self-development has just helped me look at my whole everything, and the way, like I've already said it a million times, but the way I react to things and what I want out of life and how I'm going to get there. And I think I'm on a tangent, but self-development has just, it just gives me a foundation for this, not only this business, but for my personal life that I just don't remember what the question is at this point.
No, that was so good. So good. The thing that I was going to say, it's what you were talking about earlier, and I totally forgot. And like, I know that this is such a cliche thing to even say, but you guys can feed the wolves, but you can't force them to eat. And I think at the end of the day, that's just what we have to realize with anything, any aspect of this business, whether it's enrollments, whether it's giving daily tasks, or whether it's self-development. You can provide, like, you guys, we post all the time self-development in chats, in the team pages. We're always talking about what we're listening to. It's your job to share, and it's their job to implement. So don't get frustrated when people aren't taking what you're giving them. Keep sending it. Keep giving the encouragement that Julia's talking about, because they might come back. And we've talked about that in other Zooms, so I'm not going to jump into that too much. But I just really want, if anything sticks out to you, that like, you can't force them to eat. The other thing is you have to look at self-development literally like all of the things in our business, like social media, having Wi-Fi, your phone. I feel like self-development falls into a materialistic category in the sense that it is a physical tool in your toolbox to be successful in this business that you reach out and use every day. If you were a construction man and you had to hammer up boards, you would pull out the nail and the hammer every single day when you started your job. You have to treat self-development as the exact same way. I know that that's a stupid like comparison, but it is like, you have to think of it as literally pulling something out, and then you can put it back when you're done, and then you might need it again later that day. Like, I want you guys to remember too that like I say and preach so much to control your first 30 minutes, and I really hope that you guys are doing that. But I listen to self-development multiple times throughout my day because shit happens and something will come up. So I treat it, and I can't remember the exact science to it, but it's something like 4 hours. Like, you can retain something for the next 4 hours. So when you listen to an hour of self-development in the morning, that's going to like tie you over, like if you ate a snack or something, until lunch. And then at lunchtime, you need to refill your cup because you ate all of it now, right? So fill it up again, and then you might, you just have to feel out each day. And some days I listened to just something in the morning, and that was sufficient, and it was a really good day. Other days, like yesterday, was literally a self-development day for me. I was having a really bad anxiety, just like meltdown day, whatever. But you have to just feel out your body and react accordingly. And instead of wallowing and going back to the mindset that you were in when you were in a bad place before you started self-development, realize that this is your saving grace. And when you feel like shit, that's immediately what you're turning on. Or you're reaching out to your upline and telling them what's going on so that they can talk you off the ledge. Do not isolate yourself. Do not act like you're in this business alone. Do you have something to add on to that?
Just about do not isolate yourself, because it's so easy when you're in a poor mindset to just like sit at home and cry tears into your bowl of ice cream. It's like, no, you can't do that. I have learned so much that I need for me, like what sets my soul on fire is going outside and like running the beach or jumping in the ocean or going surfing or doing something outside and near the water. That's what fuels my soul and makes me feel like refreshed and rejuvenated and like back in touch with myself and the universe and everything. So instead of like when I'm having a super bad day and if it's my day off or whatever, I'll go to the beach even if I don't want to. And if I have to bring a bottle of wine to the beach with me to get through, at least I went to the beach and I did it instead of sitting at home and drinking a bottle of wine and being more sad, you know? Like that's a horrible thing to say kind of, but like I have to get out there and like as much as I want to be alone and not socialize and do all the things, it's like that's really like what I actually do need. So just putting yourself out there and in public and just like, or whatever it is for you, you know, for me, I love to go to the beach. So even on my worst days, I know like my day will be better if I go do that. So instead of just sitting on my ass and wallowing, go do something that's proactive and something that's going to make you feel better versus just doing nothing, or like clean your house or like something like that, you know? And I didn't have that without self-development. That's why I was so depressed when I lived in Oregon.
I feel that. So I wasn't going to jump into this topic, but since we're talking about it, I think it's totally something to dive into, which is self-care. Like, you guys cannot build, and I say you guys, we cannot build a successful business, a successful marriage, a successful relationship with my kid. You cannot have a successful life and relationships without taking care of yourself. That means hygiene. That means self-development. That means working out and taking care of your body. I was on a Zoom, or what was that? Oh no, it was the video that we were watching last night that was on Jade's Destination leadership thing. And they were talking about, she has habit trackers and you can print them off on Pinterest, but she has one for her business and she has one for her products because she's really bad at remembering to take the products. So she literally printed out this form and has her workout schedule and her like when to take her supplements and everything so that she doesn't forget it. We have to be a product of the product, and you have to just learn how to take care of yourself, okay? I think that's so huge. If you need an hour, take an hour. Like, I can't tell you how many times in our accountability chat, I'm like, it's time for me to go on a walk with Oakland before her nap, so I'm letting my stories run and going to do that, or whatever. Like, step away. If you work a full-time job, don't think that going back to work after your break is taking a break. Like, after you get off work, take an hour, even if you have a million messages to respond to, and do your workout or do whatever you're going to do. Take a shower, relax, open a bottle of wine, pour yourself a glass, whatever, and then jump in and dedicate the next 2 hours. But you will burn yourself out if you don't do that. I promise you. So take care of yourself. Do you have anything else to add on to self-care?
It's just really important. And we also learned if you're not listening to those Jade Destination to Diamond videos, you need to. They're flipping amazing. I learned something new from it every single time I listen to one. I wish she came out with one every single day, but shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh, she touches on self-care and the importance of it. But also, if you think self-care is going to get your nails done or something like that, but then you're sitting there feeling guilty the whole time because you're not working your business and you're spending money you shouldn't be spending, that's not self-care. You're stressing yourself out more. So make sure you're finding things that are self-care worthy, that aren't stressing you out, and they're actually making you feel good about yourself and good about your business.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So I have one last little question for us to talk about, but if you guys have any questions, now's a good time to put them in the chat so that we can touch on them after. But I just want to end on, why is self-development and ultimately self-discipline such a key to success in this business? Like, what have you experienced in that?
I feel like I already kind of touched a little bit on self-development in my business, because like I said, it's literally just the foundation for everything I do. And it's the way I react to people that don't give me the replies that I want in messages with this business, the way I react to my team, the way I react to friendships, the way I talk to my parents, the way I handle when I'm stressed out at work, the way I feel about finding a boyfriend, the things I will look for in that. Like, it literally is the foundation for absolutely everything I do now, because I've grown my mind through self-development in a way to where, like, I just learned a lot about people through it and myself through it. And the thing about self-development is you can listen to self-development on literally any single thing ever. Like you can listen to one on sleep, you can listen to one on organization, you can listen to one on parenting, you can listen to one on how to be a better wife. Like there's so many things you can develop through self-development. So it's just you have to do it. There's no excuse. And if there's nothing else you do for the day because you're having a bad day, just listen to self-development and don't feel bad about it if that's what you need to do. Take the time. Obviously, you should be completing your 6 lists every single day, and that.
Did she cut out for anybody else, or is that just me? Okay. So hopefully she jumps back. Her computer or her iPad might have died or something. But honestly, you guys, I say this all the time, but you cannot grow your business. You cannot grow your paycheck. You cannot grow in life if you're not growing your mind. And it really is that simple. So if you want to level up in this business, if you want to level up in life, if you want to level up your inner circle, you're in the right place. Just keep doing the things. Listen to the self-development that we tell you to listen to. Hop on every Zoom that you can get your hands on. And the key to this, you guys, is not just listening to it, but implementing it, right? I talked about inspired action earlier. Like you can't just take what we're saying and be like, oh, that's such a good idea. Like I can't tell you how many notes I have written down from stuff that we listened to at conference, and I'm implementing one thing every week, right? So you've got to take what you're learning and then do something with it. So I think we'll end on that, but I love